not going, thank you, Carrie. We're not going to dismiss that, but we're really going to talk today about all the versions of practice that we can, will, should be doing, and then talking about commitment to that. What would that really look like for you? What does it mean to say, I'm going to take at least 10 one breath micro dosing moments of practice throughout the day? And then I'm going to tell you why it matters, because you may not know. And that it not only matters, that it matters a lot. And we'll talk about that too, so I can encourage, support you, and remind you. Then when we forget, like, well, I just didn't practice today, is actually, there's no such thing, right? There's no such thing as I just didn't practice today. So we're going to change our frame around what's practice, how can we do it, how can we do it every day no matter what. And then I thought we'd let Lisa read, before I ring the bell for our 15-minute silent sit, uh, this poem by Mary Oliver called Mindful. So Carrie, I'm going to go off just to make sure we don't black. You're not off. I'm going to do it this way. Yep, yep. I'm just going to go like that. You're going to talk really loud, and this larger speaker's on, so I'm have confidence.
Okay.
Talk really loud.
Can everybody hear me okay? Jim can. That's what really counts.
Talk really loud.
I will do that. But I have to say, it was perfect that you offered this to me. I'm an early morning practicer, and when I get off track, this is going to remind me of why I love practicing early in the morning. Every day, I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation.
Breathing that in. Perfect instruction. I'll ring the bell. We'll sit for 15, then I'll move right into guided practice. The first instructions of the Buddha establish the body, which actually means bringing mind to knowing something about the body, how it is. And once we know the body as the body, we then know the breath as the breath. Knowing the in-breath as the in-breath. And the out-breath as the out-breath. One drop in a bucket fills the well. They can only be taken one drop, one breath, one step, one thought at a time. This is the path to the end of suffering. And then the third instruction, begin again and again. And then not only to begin, but to begin with kindness, with goodwill, with an essential friendliness. Just this one breath. And then committing oneself to continue one breath with friendliness and goodwill again and again. Freeing the mind. And contributing to the good for all beings. Just this one breath. It is the whole of the path. Drop by drop, the well of one's own being is filled. And all beings are freed. Just this one breath. And then for just a moment, I'd like you to recollect a difficult moment, not the most difficult. A moment of reactivity, of grip, of confusion. And I'd like you to recollect that moment and then employ that one breath. Knowing the in-breath as the in-breath, knowing the out-breath as the out-breath, immediately creating space and room. And then we invite that goodwill, that friendliness. That invites that clear seeing. And we begin again. And again. Touching into our own Buddha nature with each breath. Remembering who we really are. Not the thought, not the circumstance, not even the success or failure of the moment. But that which is aware, is present, is kind, and which continues. Just like this. Feel the stillness, the open space, and the warmth all around and within. This is the path to the end of suffering. Feel the effects. And may all beings benefit. including yourself. Thought I would read a couple things. As we can see, the Buddha describes the practice, the essential practice. This is all we need. This is all we need. We don't have to jump schools. We don't have to go look for something fancy or better. Mindfully, we breathe in. Mindfully, we breathe out. One of the things that I sent out, I don't know, maybe a couple days ago, was the micro dosing mindfulness article, just as a little reminder. Because we get these fancy ideas and then we fail right there. Because it's got to be the 10 minutes, it's got to be at this time, it's got to be in this posture, it's got to be with that bracelet, pillow, mantra, I don't know, you've got your things, whatever your attachments. It's got to be quiet, the kids can't be knocking at the door, the dog's got to be still, right? And then we recognize within probably a couple of those breaths that it's already failed. And then we feel failed. We decide we're just not cut out for this somehow, and we quit. We jump up for a tea or a walk, do something, right? Do something. It's better. And this is a critical error on all of our parts, and we're going to change it today. What an opportunity. Today's the day. Today's the day. Because it doesn't have much to do with real practice. Actually, the Buddha's laughing. Joko, I heard her laughing at me. Like, it took you this long, right? It took you all this time to get this figured out. One breath practice. And then we recognize with one breath practice that the practice is continuous, right? It never ends. It's everywhere, always. There is no condition for which we're practicing or not practicing, and this becomes a practice for life. Then it does, doesn't it? It becomes just a practice for life. And we talk about it every time we're together. Someone says, I noticed this. I was, just trying to be with that, just bringing awareness here. But the early teachings, particularly from the Satipatthana, say, not without the breath, not without the space, not without the awareness, not without the recognizing the realities of impermanence. Just this one is all that matters. And we're back in what we did yesterday, and we're up in what we're going to do tomorrow. You're all thinking about what's my commitment going to be now already, just now. And then just now. And can we feel the little bit of both excitement or energy in the body and the felt sense of possibility? And then the terror that comes with that. Like, does this mean like every breath I've got to get it right? Right? We start doing that right away. Oh, so every breath is now got to be perfect. Every breath has got to land, in some kind of mystical, magical awareness. This is not the point. So don't do it. Every breath is an opportunity. Every breath is a possibility. And every breath is here for you. I just want you to start dropping in on them, knowing that it works that way. And that everything you do from that breath, just like in our little practice, right? We did a little practice. Can you just create a space in which you can be with yourself and that challenge, that difficulty, that grip, that I don't know what to do. I don't know how it's going to work. And then we create a space. And then it's fine. And then we don't mistake it for feeling good, right? We don't mistake it for getting better. This is another big critical error. Being some other way, this is a setup, isn't it? We rarely drop in on the breath, honestly. And I've known this now for over 30 something years. We rarely drop in on it without the idea that there's something better we could be doing. I could breathe longer or smoother, or I could not swallow, or I could have not had that thought, or I could, right? And it's pretty continuous. Now remember, not the problem, not the problem. Can I create a space to be with what did I say? It's critical to the practice, with an essential goodwill. It's built right in, folks. The essential goodwill. Can I just bear myself, be with myself, breathe knowing I'm breathing with some kind of friendliness, with whatever's happening? And the answer is you can, because we can just do it now, can't you? And the last one, not so important. The next one, to be determined. Nobody has to do a thing with that. I was sitting waiting for my hip consult yesterday with Carrie's surgeon, and I had a lot of thoughts about this. And the thoughts were, uh, you know, what if she doesn't have the magic answer either? And right, is what, and the second I laid eyes on her, and it was really that quickly, I knew I was okay. All the thoughts about her, all the what if this, what if that, what if not this, what if she says this thing, what if she uh, simply fell to just being there, right? Just being right there. And then whatever was said would be said, or whatever wasn't, right? It wasn't even important now. All the ideas about it and the, right? And the first thing she said to me, she looked at the X, this is just going to be my life story now, looks at the X-ray, looks back at me and says, "You're walking." And I went, "Yep." And she says, has anyone told you you have a congenital deformity? No, not mentioned. Were you double diapered as a kid? Because somebody held these hips in place somehow. I said, "No, I'm a meditator." She said, "It might have been the good news." Because I thought it was the problem, like all those years. And she said, "No, probably the good news for you. The surgery, mostly for this, is at 45 years old." And I don't know, but you don't look 45, right? And we're just breathing a truth. And I'm just more and more like, this explains a lot, right? and all good news. And by the way, did anybody hear me say last week, nobody's doing double, bilateral, anything on me because I want a leg to stand? And she said, we have to. I can't fix one of these sides and not fix the other side because now, how are you going to do that? And there's not a lift enough. There's not a right enough. And guess what? I just create space to hear the truth of it. And now all the ideas about how it should go and I need a leg to stand on, although I love the quote. We got to make a sticker or t-shirt for that or something, right, is gone. Why? Just creating space for truth. And then if we are abiding in the space, says the teachings, if we abide the space, not just create it, but now rest in it, you know the truth of it. And it vibrated like a big, the bell at Deer Park. And I went, yep, it's got to go that way. Right? And then no problem. Truly, no problem. All the ideas can fall away in what? Just one breath. I can just be in this one. And then I just get to be in the body however the body is. I was sitting earlier before we saw her, and my husband said, breathe. Breathe, just do some breathing or something. Because I could tell I was having a little stress reaction. We couldn't find the parking, and I don't know if anybody's been over there, but there's construction, it's crazy. And then we hear she's going to be an hour and a half late, and all this stuff that we typically say, breathe, just breathe. And I said, I think I could breathe, that I'm just going to breathe being anxious. I am going to breathe, but I'm not going to try to breathe this away. I think it's just good to know it's okay. Just let it be. And of course, just that could create space for us to rest in it. So this is not what we think practice is. We often think practice is exactly what Al understood. Breathe, get rid of this. Breathe it away. Breathe the change. Breathe an improvement. Do something. Don't just let this be, but it's always the first instruction. It's the first instruction. Breathe the in-breath, knowing it's the in-breath. You don't get rid of anxiety. You know something about it. And what does it cultivate in us? The capacity to stay. Right there, don't we? And then we can breathe it again and go tight like this, softened like this, thought like this, sensation like this. And it's perfect. Because that's the practice. And what was the end line? This is the path, it says in the Satipatthana, to the end of all distress. And he meant it. That wasn't just a nice byline. This is the path to the end of all suffering. And there it was. I could feel it just in this breath. And can't you? You can. Just here. Cold like this. Thoughts like this. And the very naming, says the neuroscience, is beautiful. No sensation as sensation, says the Satipatthana. No, the thought is a thought. Nothing to fix or change at all. And then abide thusly. That's the quote. Abide thusly, knowing the thought as the thought. This is the path. He reminds us about 50,000. This is the path to the end of suffering. And then the final line, not only for you, but for all beings. Anybody get a little clutched at that? Like, really? I don't know. Is just this moment with me, my body, my mind, my heart enough? Yes, you did. I heard you. Yes, you did. You went, really? Is this the path to the end of suffering for all beings? It is, actually. It's the one thing you could do. And then you're going to tell me now, because I'm going to ask, what's the reason you don't commit to doing it in the 10,000 ways we're just described and going to further describe every single day on purpose with intention, starting with those first 3 breaths in the morning? What's the reason?
busy.
Yep.
Got things to do.
Disconnect. I disconnect.
Disconnect. I'm just on some kind of auto. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just
I don't want to be in touch with my feelings.
don't want to know.
I
Don't want to know that. Because then I got to what? Abide thusly.
Deal with it.
Forget it. Not abiding that thusly.
I don't feel good. I need to get outside right now.
Yeah. Got to move. We're great at it. Got to move. We will commit to movement. We will not commit to stillness. And it's a cultural disease. And then so offering ourselves this every day with commitment, we're doing it today, right? Doesn't mean what? 15 minutes silently every day, no matter what. That's not our agreement. What does it mean? What?
Every breath.
Every breath, when I can, and then when I can't, I'll know that too, because then I'll wake up going, oh, but I'm here now. And then we begin again. Remember, there's the instruction, begin again. And then we begin again. And that's the perfect practice. And, says the teachings, and now the neuroscience, it would be very wise to sit for some little amount of time just cultivating the remembering of that refuge so that you can keep finding your way back to it throughout the day. Because if you don't put your hand on the mark, it's harder to find. It's true. It's just harder to find. And so whether that's 10 breaths, 20 soft belly breaths, 5 minutes, it's really that we do it, that we keep doing it, that we reflect on how we're doing it, and that we do it again. That's the practice.
Ironically, it's such a critical practice because it prepares you for when you're not breathing.
That's right.
You're done.
That's right. It prepares you for the very next breath. Not just the last one, the next one. Actually, and the next one, and the next one. You are better. And you weren't trying for any kind of perfection, were you? This is not the better we mean. Present, available, knowing, and with some kindness, because this is the essential instruction. Essential instruction. So what's the commitment?
Catch breaths when you can.
Catch breaths, not just when you can. Yes, also. What's the first commitment? Some amount. Yeah, they're called vows. And they're important because without intention, what do we already know? You just, it falls away. So Libby said it right, like get them, catch, and it doesn't mean you can't catch them, but you have work before that. And the work before that is, I'm doing this 10 times a day, no matter what. And if that means, what do we talk about? A phrase, a reminder, every time I pass through the door, every time my phone rings, every time, right, I put the teapot on. These are just helpful. They're not demands. They're supports. First thing in the morning, last thing at the end, as many times in the middle as I can find my way there. And then we recognize that the microdosing, we're noticing this in the psilocybin work, by the way, as well. And I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it. Numinous, my friends at Numinous in Canada are going to be doing a little program. I think I'm going to drop in on it with them. The evidence is that microdosing can be as or more effective than some big heroic dose moment, right? Because then just now, and there's a certain kind of attentive awakening in the microdosing because we make you do it. We say you have to pay attention to how you really are. And there's just a little support for that in the neural pathway, which is just delightful to say, yeah, I can actually drop in on that, not just as a stress reaction, but with some curiosity, interest, right? Microdosing practice moments as well. So what's the commitment? What feels workable for you? If you were going to say, I could do this, what would it look like?
60 breaths.
60 breaths a day. It's a nice number. Little to do with heartbeats. 60 breaths a day. Could we do it? Could we do it? Could we commit as a group? 60 a day? Let's do
Only
it.
10 minutes.
60 breaths. We have a little evidence. There's a little research on that. We know that sort of somehow in that range, 60 to 80 breaths a day, we are actually not just sustaining, but cultivating capacity. It's why we try to encourage people, though starting for one breath is the work. And then one, still the work, and then one, because you can't get to 60 without it. Can you? And so then wherever I can, beginning first thing, some number, because remember setting the table for the feast. If you don't know the path, you can't walk it. It's just setting that neural network. Going, remember the body, remember awareness of the body. Oh yeah. And it only takes us now probably, I don't know, 10 to 20 breaths for most of us to go, oh, I'm home. I remember. And the remembering isn't an idea or it's not a thought. It's a felt sense, isn't it? Oh, yeah, right. The refuge that I have been seeking in all that movement, is right here. Has always been, will always be. And as Jim just said, even and maybe particularly at the last breath. When everything else is falling away, you will have cultivated that. I will be with me into whatever else we go. And then I think we scream less. Okay. Other thoughts? Anybody?
Couldn't get to your screen instead. Scroll a bit instead of breathe.
You can scroll instead of breathe. What's it get you?
Dukkha.
Yep. Guaranteed dukkha. Guaranteed. No matter how funny it was in the moment, and it could be, no matter how cute, no matter, the truth is, without awareness and you in it, it goes nowhere. It just becomes an addictive pattern. And then you can't get enough of them. You just keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. In Buddhism, freedom doesn't happen with wishing, wanting, or praying. It happens through cultivating the causes and conditions of your own heart-mind. There's nothing else to count on. Anybody notice? Nothing. Not the contract, not the partner, not the bottle or whatever it was you thought would fix that. Nothing to count on. And this is as it is written. The causes and conditions alone. The Buddha uses the image of the water pot. I did something similar with the well. Water pot filling drop by drop. And he says, no single drop matters more than that you continue and begin again. And so what do we notice? I wasn't there. I was dead asleep. I was in the screaming Mimis. I was in the I can't believe you just did it. I was in the future with an entirely constructed play about how it was going to work or not work. No problem, he just said. No one moment. It is that we begin again with essential friendliness. Yes, key.
There's no failure.
There cannot be. There's really no such thing. Then there's no failure. There's just, asleep and the awakening to it, the forgetting and the remembering, right? Happening, really, it's pretty continuous. There's a lovely flow in it. Let me see, there was another quote or two. All contemporary teachers support this. We don't practice, Pema, of course, we don't practice to feel good. We practice so we're not captive by our reactivity. And then I want to say a word about repetition. And so the reality of repetition is everyone understands that, don't we? Everyone understands the reality of repetition. Repetition says this: that which is repeated grows stronger. Right? It's very basic. If it's good for you, of benefit, it is worthy of repeating, and then repeating some more, right? So we start with our 20 breaths or our 60 breaths, and then we see its benefits. We feel its strengthening, its stabilizing effect. There is a steadiness of mind in 60 to 80 breaths. We know we're cultivating. And so what does it invite? More. It says then I can do it one more or three more. Anybody go to eGym? What do? You start somewhere and you go, wow, look at that. I was over there just doing 10 of those, and now I'm at 12 of those, and then I'm at a different weight, and then I'm growing strengths. But the intention is the commitment to doing it again and again. It's required. Short practices matter. This is we have some new research. So which practice is the best practice?
The one you do.
Yep. Which practice is the best practice? The one you'll do. That's and not a joke. So 60 breaths, okay. 5 minutes over here, okay. Micro dosing breaths throughout the day, okay. And then what's the commitment to it? Because now we have to establish it as a repetition. We can't just say 5 minutes and then we have to go then 5 minutes and then I'm going to do it again next morning and then I'm going to do it again, whatever those things are. Even brief pauses can unhook us from reactivity. We already know this. We already know that 3 breaths is an antidote to most moments of reactivity. 3 breaths taken on purpose. That's a pretty small pill, right? I would say pretty small. 3 breaths taken on purpose, very likely to unhook that autopiloted habit for reactivity. So why wouldn't we bother? What do you think, little man? The most important point, and this is mine, is that it must be, as you just said, Janine just said it, it must be livable. If it's just on a cushion, or just at the red light, or just when you have the beads, or just, it is ultimately insufficient. It must be that which grows, and grows itself. Not your demand for growing, not the striving element of growing, but that, and then again, and then here too. And that's why we set the very simple first instruction: establish the body. Know the body as the body is the first instruction. Couldn't we do that? Pretty much, right? Know the body as the body. Attend, abide, know something about it. It's breathing. then know something about that. And the Buddha himself said, I'm not even counting on the breath. If you could just get to your body, it would be. I don't have much confidence that without training, anybody's going to be able to find their breath. And of course, we know with little kids, very, very difficult to do, but they know where their feet and hands are. And in kindergarten, that's the mindfulness practice. Where are your hands and feet? And you know the first thing every little kindergartner does? They go like this. They drop in. Where? Oh, and then they go like that. Right here, right here. They're right here. And then we can say things like, how are they? Cold or hot or, right? This is the staying power. But we need these same instructions, don't we? We need those exact same instructions. Know the body is the body. How is the body right now? Is just a beautiful offering. And then count that as your practice. Couldn't you say that to yourself throughout the day? How's the body right now? Let me know something about it. And you would do like that kindergartner does. There would be a drop from whatever that thinking, whatever that planning, whatever that busy, because you can't know anything about the body if you don't do it. You'd just be guessing. It does require, just as those little guys do. And wouldn't it be a beautiful practice? All right. So that's plenty for me. What do you guys have to say out there? What do all these teachers and Buddhas out here have to say? What do you know about this? Can we reframe the truth of practice as a start? Not some idea over there, the thing we've got to do that's agonizing, difficult, or hard to get to, but this every moment opportunity. And then we can commit, I think, from that idea to some number of them. And my standards have changed. We used to try to put them all together because there is some advantage, and the science says it's so, to doing 60 breaths all at once. There is a level of steadiness, a level of stability, a level of open-heartedness that is larger than just one breath here, one breath there. But where would we begin?
One breath, one.
You still starting there. One breath is still the only beginning you have. Just this one, just right now. And so whether we can string 60 together, whether you can do 5 of those, whether we can end up doing 50 minutes, whether is really not the first point. But we set ourselves up like gotta look. And then I hear mostly every day how everyone's failed at their ideas. Every day. Someone says, well, you know, I just couldn't do it like that. And I was like, that's not actually the point. What could you do? What could you really do? Could you just be with it now? Might be the whole practice. Instead of some idea about what we should have been doing. Which is, by the way, always failed and insufficient. Every idea you have about practice is wrong. Every single one of them.
I wanted to say that this last year for me has been kind of baptism by fire. And I had some of my stressors living with me every day. And a lot of time given constantly in my home environment even. And having to learn how to constantly start again. And the only thing that really helped me, it seemed, was to stand there and face things, but take breaths. Just right now. Don't think about the future. Don't think about what happened in the past. Just be here right now. And I could count on that moment and get through the rest by using my toolkit that Diana's given us and all the other things I've read and so on to help me breathe, or go to yoga nidra, or go to the breathwork class, or just learn how to sit quietly instead of needing all the dopamine hits. And um, so being able to face all of those emotions and difficulties was really hard for me, because I had learned my whole life not to do that. But just being in one moment was key. And that's what I mean about baptism by fire, is that I had to learn it. And because it lasted so long, I think it became more integrated. And that's what the routine or the practice. And so when I was reading, and Diana's talking about, utilizing this more in microdosing or throughout your day or whatever, it made me feel better, like, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been having to do this stuff. And now I feel like it's more in my everyday life. I use it constantly and think, oh, this is really hard. How am I going to deal with this? And, oh, okay. So the repetition, sometimes the difficulties having to use it, is a good thing in the long run. Prepares you for the next thing, which I'm going to have. My husband's having surgery on Monday for cancer, so it's prepared me for that. And I'm grateful for this whole teaching.
Yes. Essential teaching, we call it. This essential teaching. If we don't remember this, if we don't hold this, we will not be able to propagate the other teachings. There will be no capacity, because you won't be here for them. And then, the ideas about non-reactivity, they're lovely, but we have to know we're reacting first. And not only know it like the idea, we have to know it's suffering. We have to know that it's making us sick, because in fact it is. And it only takes drop in there to go, ugh, right? Not so. This is not what I want to propagate. This is not what I want to cultivate for myself and for others. It's all true. And so can we get ourselves to our one breath practice? In our commitment, our group's going to try for 60 a day. Now, I don't know how you're going to know it exactly, because really counting isn't really quite the point. And so our little Western minds are going, I already heard you again. How am I going to know 60? How would I know 60? It would be some number that would be some there'd be some continuity to it, wouldn't there? There'd have to be. It couldn't just be 1 in the morning and 1 at night, right? You'd know you'd missed the mark from the commitment. So you do it at first thing in the morning, because really we're asking for 3 anyway, as we just open the door to knowing the mind as the mind, knowing the body as the body, and then with some kind of regularity, looking for the next one. Dropping in on the next one, right? This string of pearls.
Yeah. Can I?
Yes, Dennis.
I have to share that yesterday I went to a good friend's memorial, and then I went right to the tennis court to be with little people. And I spent the next 4 or 5 hours continuously with 2 groups of little people. And without that deep breathing, I wouldn't be here now. I'm a little hoarse in the throat right now, but it was just that reminder constantly, being out there with parents and these little people, that I'm okay, I can breathe deep, and we can keep on moving. So I just needed to share that with everybody.
Yeah, it's a good example of just being right where you are is the only path to being here now. Is correct. You said I wouldn't be here now, and that is 100% the truth. You couldn't be if you weren't here now. And then now, once again. And that's the way to everything. And remember, the deep teachings, right out of the very words of the Buddha, say this is the path to the end of suffering and the liberation of all beings.
Hey, Diana, speaking of little people,
Yes.
I don't know if anybody knows that 6'7" is pretty big right now within the little people, just saying 6'7".
Yes.
So how about we do 6 to 7 breaths 10 times a day?
That's another way to go.
I'm going to do that because the kids
Isn't
are
that
so
fabulous?
hilarious about the whole 6, 7, those numbers.
We can assign yet another meaning to it. Since
We can
nobody really
assign
knows what it means.
however
Oh,
we
wow.
get there is
Oh,
the
it's
good
hilarious.
news.
You can
So
say,
Dennis said,
oh,
well, I
that's
could
right.
get there on the tennis court with these little people. Yep. Libby might say, I can get there when I'm in a room with a scared dog. Right? Everybody has their open doors, the ones that work particularly well. I like that we create new ones as well. Remember, new neural pathway, which is why I want us not only to do them in familiar places, but actually in the unfamiliar, in the place you might not normally do it. One of the places I'd love for everybody to put a couple breaths is before you start your engine to your car and drive away.
Sitting at a red light.
Right? Getting all of you in the vehicle would be really an amazing thing. Getting all of you into the conversation with just a breath before speaking would be an amazing thing. Before looking into the eyes of the beloved, says Rumi, what's required? That I bring all of this.
Di,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a person, like historically, I feel like I sigh a lot. And I think this is such a good way of shifting it slightly.
Yes.
So as opposed to going, make it more intentional.
Yes.
Like not because I need to regroup, but
That's
yes,
right.
But how I think about it.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
If we're attending to the breath regularly, you will sigh less because this mini regulations are happening in each breath rather than the requirement now for reset,
Absolutely.
which is of course what that is and not inappropriate. Right? It's not a problem,
there's a
but you're
heaviness
recognizing,
about it, like,
you're recognizing
yeah.
something. You're bringing a lot.
Yeah.
That's the 25,000 breaths unrecognized, right? That we finally, the weight of that now, how breaking it up into little moments, Graciela moments, Dennis moments, are whichever ones we have. They're all good. I want to create a little time and space to talk about, before we have to go, a couple things that our community is committed to. Does it feel like it's an okay time to shift to that? I want to make sure that we get that included. So I want to check in with Lisa here, Jim, Lynn, Greg. I know we've got something coming up. Can we just talk for a minute about what's going on with our service projects? We've got the first thing coming up, I think, is St. Andrews. Lisa, you want to say anything about that? Just talk up.
Just to say, any last donations that we might make need to be by Tuesday. Because
Donation money to the food.
yeah. And actually, donations of money, a little bit like the Indigo Food Bank. I think I probably do better. I will go to Costco, I'll go to another big store, and I can buy more. And we've had a little shift every month changes with the focus between what the San Diego Bank or Feeding San Diego. This month is going to be all up. So
Okay.
I'll be like, tune in.
Okay.
TV.
Okay. Good to know.
Thank you.
Yes, we hear this in the background too. It's Carrie and I are trying to, yeah.
The dry things work
And it's because I've said this before. There's not fine run restaurant within. These are all volunteers, and the numbers that show up apparently 200 something like that to shop on Thursdays. But what comes and goes, what the needs are changes. So because the last couple of Thursdays were holidays and they weren't open, it changed their need. And so as it stands now, Jim has been kind enough to volunteer to join me next Wednesday to drive down with my truck down to the food bank, pick up whatever the person, whoever it's going to be. Could be Chase, who knows. And then bring it up to St. Andrews and unload it from the truck. Takes some manpower. So that's next Wednesday. And then after that, I don't know. I mean, we've committed to when they need us, which has not been every Wednesday. So
far,
I think,
yeah.
But there'll be communication, usually Monday or Tuesday. I now have a link to all the people there, and I'll find out. And I think that what I would suggest is that it's an odd time. 10 a.m. on a weekday is not the best time for most people. Although
That's
those
right.
of us who are retired, it's no problem. So I would just say, if you look at your schedule and there may be an opening on a Wednesday morning sometime, and you're interested, the plan is to meet at my place, because I live in Carmel Valley, which is halfway there basically. And then we would drive down together, pick up the food, come back, pick up your car, and then come up to St. Andrews. So I think it'll work well. I'm getting a sense for these people and what their needs are and their flexibility. And I think Lisa now finds out what their flexibility. And so, I think it's a good service. And I think we can make it happen on a regular basis. It just takes a lot of time.
And they every week express their gratitude.
Oh,
They
yes.
are hugely grateful
Yes.
for us.
This is, there's no question about either the need or the benefit. We're cultivating practice. We don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post your address.
Address?
Or Jim.
I'll get it.
What I'll say to you about this is I'm in this weekend, so that'll be tomorrow. The volunteer link now on our website. So there will be that information will be there. Jessica just got that. Thank you, Jessica. We're going to, so you'll get a link, and we'll include Jim's where to meet on that. You also get to sign up, by the way, on it for I want to be a person at the San Diego Food Bank. I want to be a person only at St. Andrews. I'll meet you there at 11 something or whatever